there was a tape recording, and on that tape, another man confessed to the murder. He even said Juan Melendez wasn't there, but the jury never heard it, and Juan Melendez was sentenced to death. This is the story of how a forgotten transcript helped free a man after nearly 18 years on death row. In 1983, a beauty school owner named Delbert Baker was murdered in Auburndale, Florida. He had been shot, and his throat had been cut. Investigators eventually focused on a 33-year-old migrant fruit picker named Juan Melendez. Melendez maintained that he had nothing to do with the murder, but the prosecution had witnesses who pointed to him, and the case went to trial. On September 20th, 1984, the jury found Juan Melendez guilty of first-degree murder. The next day, the judge sentenced him to death. Juan was taken to Florida's death row, and then he waited. Years passed. His appeals failed. Meanwhile, another name kept appearing in the case: Vernon James. James had admitted being involved in Baker's murder, and he had said Melendez wasn't at the scene. There was even a recorded conversation, but James refused to testify at trial, so the evidence never reached the jury. Then came one of the strangest discoveries in the entire case. Years later, Juan's former defense attorney, Roger Alcott, was moving boxes of old files. Inside those files, he found a transcript. It documented that long-forgotten taped conversation with Vernon James. The confession was still there, after all those years, buried inside the files. The discovery triggered a new investigation. Investigators found more people who said James had confessed. They also uncovered records showing that James had made incriminating statements to prosecutors. Statements that had never been disclosed to Melendez's defense. And suddenly, the case against Juan was collapsing. On December 5th, 2001, Judge Barbara Fleischer overturned Melendez's conviction. The judge found that prosecutors had withheld critical evidence. The state could have tried him again, but prosecutors decided not to. There was no longer enough confidence in the case to continue. And on January 3rd, 2002, Juan Melendez walked out of prison, a free man. Juan had spent more than 17 years on death row. 17 years, waiting for the execution that never came. And when he finally walked out, his compensation was almost unbelievable. He received $100, a pair of pants, and a shirt. Think about that. Nearly 2 decades of his life were gone. And that's what he walked away with. Juan Melendez became the 99th person exonerated from death row in the United States since 1973. But perhaps the most haunting part of his story isn't that the truth was eventually discovered. It's that the truth had been sitting in a file while Juan was sitting on death row. The tape survived. The evidence survived. And eventually, so did Juan. But no one could give him back the years. This is 60 Wonders, where every minute reveals something extraordinary. Don't just watch and scroll past. Subscribe, like, and share for more true stories like this.
You were tried and convicted of murder.
Everybody's in death row is convicted for first-degree murder. My case was first-degree murder and armed robbery. It was based on the testimony of 2 questionable witnesses, no physical evidence against me. These 2 questionable witnesses were the criminal record from coast to coast that make deals with the prosecutor, with the state, and they give leniencies and rewards for their own crimes to commit.
And as I say, you spent 17 years on death row. I'm going to talk all about how you were ultimately released. But I think for the people who are listening, it might be good if you could tell us a little bit about what being in prison on death row is like.
It's a horrible experience, very horrified. It's like a nightmare that you cannot wake up. They keep me in a 6 by 9 foot cell. the place was, where I was infected with rats and roaches. And every time they moved me out of the place, for whatever reasons, I had got shackles in my legs, chains in my waist, and handcuffs in my wrists. I suffered terribly, but my family also suffered a lot, especially my mom and my 5 aunts. I remember a letter that my mama wrote me. She said that she built an altar, put a statue of the Virgin of the Guadalupe.